Hi everybody, so I've just reached my final destination in Bali. I have one night in Seminyak before I fly home tomorrow, and I've, as usual, been doing a lot of reflecting on my healing journey, on my first solo travel experience. And I thought it would be nice to share some of my insights and what I've learned, and what I've learned, and maybe you can take something from it. So I'll just dive right in. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name's Roseanna. I am the host of Design Your Legacy, which is a podcast and YouTube channel where I like to share parts of my journey, lessons. They may be spiritual, they may be more based on personal development, but it all ties in, and I hope that it helps inspire and encourage you to live your best life possible, because there are infinite possibilities available to you if you are willing to go out and find them and make the most out of life. My number one lesson is pack lightly. My case weighs over 25 kilos and it's totally unnecessary. One of my friends told me at the beginning, when I came, she was, I lived in Australia, I know, it's hot, I know that you don't wear 7 different outfits a day, but still, I've not been on holiday for so long and I don't know what I will want to wear, so I packed loads. I also packed loads of books. Guess how many of them I've read? So number one lesson that's not at all spiritual, just really practical, is pack lightly. But most of my lessons have been around healing and spirituality and learning more about myself and connecting to myself on a deeper level. And I've done that in abundance, in ways that I never thought possible. I've had the most incredible time. I didn't have many expectations for my time here, because it's not great to have expectations, because you just never know what might happen. I think it's okay to have expectations if you are willing to adapt and not be so attached to those expectations that you get disappointed if it doesn't go to plan. Because if you listen to last week's podcast and episode, then you will know that my second week here didn't go to plan, but I ended up having the most magical time and the most perfect time that I could have possibly asked for, because I was willing to surrender, I was willing to let go, I was willing to just accept it as part of my journey, and I met incredible people. And if you didn't listen, basically the hotel I checked into was just not nice. I'm sure it would have been lovely, but I don't imagine anybody stayed in my room since COVID that I was in, and there were bats nesting and stuff. But actually, bats have a spiritual meaning, and I was talking about this with a friend, and the spiritual meaning is tapping into a higher consciousness, which is also a massive part of what I've been doing here. And that's really exciting. So whilst I didn't really want the bats above my bed at night because I could see them pooing on the floor, I also appreciate that I was being shown these animals to just to make me aware, and I'm really grateful for that. So that does lead me into my first point, which has been, like, if you surrender, the path will be shown to you. If you surrender, you will see signs, you will you'll see signs, you'll hear your intuition, you'll be guided, and I mean, you can maybe believe me or not, but try it. Like, what have you got to lose? So if there's an area of your life that you're struggling in at the minute, you can't make a decision, you don't know what the best thing to do is, you don't know how to tackle a situation, you are trying to problem solve, my advice would be surrender. Literally say out loud to the universe, I surrender. Universe, I surrender. This, I allow you to guide me, and just watch and be aware, and listen to your heart in meditation, listen to what might come up for you, and surrender, and I guarantee you'll be shown the way. I guarantee it. Most definitely. My second point is choose yourself. If something's not working for you, find an option that does work for you. We always have multiple options available to us. It's up to us whether we choose to look for those options or choose a different option. You know, do not be set on one thing. I was offered this years ago. I was in a bit of a struggle, and I was actually doing coaching with the Tony Robbins team at the time, and my coach Rachel from the team, I can't remember what it was I was struggling with, but I will always remember her answer, and like her advice was, well, we have so many options available to us, so which one are you going to choose? And this works with a few different things. So it works on a few different levels. Like, your option could be to, well, let me give you the example. Basically, the last hotel I stayed in, the food was not great. And I had half-board hotel, which, you know, it was ridiculously cheap. So maybe I should have realised that it might not be everything I expected. And at the time, you know, I didn't know that I'd be so conscious of what I was eating. But I could have done a handful of things. So my options available to me were eat the food because it was effectively free. You know, that was breakfast and dinner. That would have entailed, it wasn't healthy. It wasn't, the food that I did eat there was not to a high, like, quality. It wasn't cooked in the best way. I'm trying to be so polite, like the hotel staff are going to be offended, or because it's like they're watching this podcast, because they're absolutely not. But or I could either be grateful that I was being given this food, or I could have been miserable about the fact that the food wasn't to my taste, and that was it. It wasn't to my taste. It wasn't that the food was bad, it just wasn't for me. So they were a few options. My other option was don't eat there and go and find something that suits me more. And I was in Ubud, and there were so many options of delicious, healthy food out there. That is what I chose. And because I chose that option, it also meant I chose myself. And choosing yourself sends a big, big message to the universe. It sends a big message to you, to your subconscious, to your, just to you in general, to every cell in your body. Me going out and saying, okay, I took myself to a restaurant last night called Alchemy, which is a raw vegan restaurant. The food was absolutely incredible. I had to get in a car to go there. It wasn't like within walking distance, because anywhere else I'd eaten had been within like a 5-minute walk. I had to go in for a 10-minute car journey instead. And and go to this restaurant, and in doing that, I sent a message to the universe that was, I care about my health, I care about what I'm eating, I love myself enough to do this, I love myself enough to not settle for the food that I don't think is a good enough quality for my body, and say I am willing to, you know, to swap, to spend extra money on doing this. And it sends a powerful message. Just choosing yourself in and what works for you in so many different areas of your life sends a huge message to you and to the universe. And the universe will give that back to you. Like, it will give you more of what you want, but you will also be like, just doing that for yourself will have massive benefits. You'll kind of trust yourself more, you'll believe in yourself more, you'll know what you want more. Oftentimes a lot of our issues are like, we don't necessarily know what we want, but when we follow our intuition, and you know, and I've woken up this morning, I feel full of energy, I feel amazing. I then chose myself again, took myself out for breakfast, went to a yoga class, had a brunch, all before 12 p.m. when I had to check out of my hotel. And it's funny because I think I'm really in tune to different energies at the moment, and I felt a bit of a relief to check out of that hotel. Not that it was bad, I really enjoyed the pool, but I don't know, it was not great, the energy. But anyway, I digress. So another lesson that I've been learning is, and I've been doing this a lot in some of the workshops I've been attending, some of the meditations I've been doing, some of the ceremonies. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that I went to a cacao ceremony, which was a manifesting cacao ceremony. So it was about manifestation, but ultimately it was about love and loving yourself and loving others and releasing fear. And it was a really beautiful night. So my next lesson that I've learned is open your heart to love and watch magic happen. And this is literally what I've seen alongside surrendering. This is what I've seen, especially in the last few days, actually, mainly in how I feel and how I feel within myself. So a big part of my cancer healing was learning to love myself. Now, for somebody who hasn't loved herself for a very long time, and I don't mean like the bubble bath type of love, I mean the deep, I can comfort myself, I can know what I want, I can like stand in my power, I can, you know, believe in myself, trust myself, and love myself. Like this type of love, the deep type of love, the unconditional love that we all crave in the world. You open your heart to that, you give yourself that, and you'll see just things change in your life. And not only will you wake up feeling amazing, you will go to sleep feeling amazing, you will feel great. I'm not saying there won't be bad days, but you know that you can always come back to your own love. Like that's a huge thing. And you'll just see like things unfold because so I've done a lot of that, some kind of heart opening meditations, I'm learning a lot about the world transitioning into fourth density, which I am not going to get into here. I might speak a bit more about this in a few weeks or something, or you can YouTube. A great person to watch is Aaron Abke or Kyle Cease, or Kim Duramo. They're the main three people I follow on YouTube, and they speak about the world kind of moving into a higher density, a higher consciousness, and I think a lot of it comes down to the teachings in the Law of One, but that is a whole can of worms within itself. So, but open, like, just learn to live in your heart space and love yourself, and you will. And I did the most incredible meditation workshop ceremony at the Pyramids of Chi at the weekend about this, and like really just settling into your heart and living there. And I feel so different within my body now. I feel so different within myself. I just feel, you know, I feel great. Yes, I'm on a tropical island, but I'm coming to the end of my trip, and most people would get sad that they're at the end of the trip, whereas I'm actually just really excited about life in general. So I feel amazing. You know, this is a new feeling for me. You know, I speak about this quite a lot, but a year ago I was living in massive fear, massive stress, and lots of things just felt really difficult in my life, and now they don't. And I think a lot of that comes down to my healing journey, not just from cancer, but learning to love myself and knowing that, you know, it's myself that I've got to live with for the rest of my life. So I may as well enjoy who I am, my being, my body, my just, you know, every part of me, even my ego, you know, even the monkey mind and all of this, you know, love every part of me. And so that leads me really nicely into another lesson, which has been most healing happens beneath the surface. You don't know that it's happening, and you have to trust the process that it is happening. If you're doing the work to heal, and that could be meditation, it could be practicing self-love, it could be getting your body healthy, getting your body strong, it could be getting your mind healthy, listening to what your mind's saying, following your intuition, doing yoga, learning something new, working through traumas. You know, we all have traumas, we all have shit, we all have baggage, and we could all probably write a book about it and teach people so much, but we have to learn to do that for ourselves first. And if we're willing to heal, that's the start of the process. The second we recognize that we might need to give ourselves some care and some TLC, then we can start to heal. And most of it, you won't even know it's happening. I've been on this journey. I'm going to say, I don't know. I started personal development 7 years ago. I would say my true healing journey started last year, before I was even diagnosed with cancer. Everything happened in very quick succession. So you'll read more about it in my book, which is nearly finished. So if anybody knows any publishers, let me know. So yeah, most healing happens beneath the surface. You won't even know it's happening, but day by day, you'll start to feel more in love with yourself, more in love with your life. You'll see things more clearly. You might get some inspiration. You might be guided. You know, surrender is a massive part of healing. And just trust the process. Trust that your body knows what it's doing. Trusting that your body knows how to heal is massive. You know, you don't necessarily need all of the stuff that we're sold by the big industries. You can probably do a lot of it by working on yourself and doing the inner work, but that doesn't sell. So next lesson that I've learned is, if you build a life and I just touched on this, if you build a life you love, you will look forward to going back to it. So I was worried that I was going to come to Bali and I would want to stay, and that I would not want to go back to London, and that I would, you know, I've obviously got my little precious Prince Russell, my cat, I have a gorgeous flat in London, but I was worried that I would want to leave it all and move here where it's hot, sunny, sea, spiritual, very much like I could, very much my scene. Not pretentious in any way, really. Most of the people I met are just focused on love and spirituality and making the world a better place, which was just so amazing. And ego doesn't really seem to be like a huge thing, which is really nice. And everybody I've met is singing from the same hymn sheet. In fact, that's another lesson, but I've not written that one down. So if you build a life you love, like, you'll look forward to going back to it. So me being here has made me realize I've built a life that I love in London. I have incredible friends. I have so many opportunities available to me there, and I have the most, I live in a gorgeous place. I have wonderful people around me. I love England. I love our countryside. I love the UK. I love Europe. I love the fact that I can get on a plane and be somewhere within 24 hours. I love the businesses that I've built, and my base is London, and I am in love with that life. And even though it was a bit difficult coming out of cancer, I've had a breakup in the last 12 months. There's been a lot of emotional stuff happen this year, and a lot of stuff that I've had to heal from, but I'm really looking forward to going back and rebuilding. This year's taken me a lot of energy. I've not had the energy to go back to my, pick up the life that I left off, and I've not wanted to. I didn't love that life, whereas I took 3 months at the beginning of the year to be slow. I probably didn't do much work. This podcast was my main piece of work. I call it work, it's not work, but it was my main thing to do every week. And as long as I got the podcast out, I was happy, and wrote my book. Obviously, I've written a book. I say I've not done much. I've written a book this year. We're only in April, so not bad going. So it's taken me but I now feel excited to go back and start, carry on building this life that I so love and so want. And again, when you love yourself, and when you are listening to your intuition and following guidance, then that life will just happen for you. Wake up every day, tell yourself you love yourself and love your life. Your life will change. And I was talking to a friend, so I've had some epiphanies while I've been here, some massive inspirations that you will start to see over my social medias and businesses in the next couple of weeks, probably, that I was sharing with a couple of friends yesterday, and they have also had a couple of things that have shown up for them. And one friend said that, because I was harping on at her saying, you need to rest, 7 days a week. 7 days a week isn't sustainable. In fact, hopefully she'll listen to this, because I'm like, this was never me. I was always the 7 day a week type of person, and now I'm like maybe 1 day a week. But especially this year. But I said even God had Sunday off, and she joked. She said, well, God wasn't a woman, but she said that what she wants to do is she's rebuilding parts of her own business, so that and looking at her life so that she doesn't feel she needs to take a holiday from it. And that is when you love your life, when you don't have to take a holiday from it. We're kind of brought up to work, retire, die, work 2 holidays a year, retire, die. When you retire, you might go on a 3-month cruise. and within that, you also, you have equity released on mortgages to get more money out and be able to spend that on a nice holiday and loans and all to keep you in the game of giving the banks and the government money and living a limited life. But if you take control and you take responsibility, and you sit and think about what it is you want from your life, you can absolutely create that, and then you won't need to take a holiday from your life. Yes, you will want to travel and you will want to go on holiday, and you can do that, but it's not an escape. It's not an, oh my God, I'm so stressed, I need to get out. It's not that. It is, I'm going traveling, and I might do some work while I'm there, and that's okay because I love what I do. Or it might be that you choose to only work 3 days a week and the rest of the time you're doing something else. You might have different projects going on. I know I do. You can build a life that you don't need a holiday from. And I think that is a really fulfilled, one of the steps to living a really fulfilled life. The next thing I wrote down was be open to connections and nudges. So this comes from, I met the first week I was here, within the first 24 hours actually, I met this incredible lady. She was having a hard time because she'd been thrown a curveball in her plan. But I met her, we went out for dinner, we had some good conversations. She's a therapist. We're on a similar page, with kind of all the personal development and spirituality and this, so we had some nice conversations. And then me meeting her and having a conversation with her, she came up to me and said, do you mind if I sit here? Are you on your own? I'm on my own. Can we sit and have a chat? And I said, yeah, absolutely. Now I could have said no. If I'd have said no, my plan, none of the last 3 weeks would have gone how they did and led to me having such an amazing time. Because from saying yes to her, and actually if you have the Pattern app, this thing's incredible, I love it, but it's sent me a notification, just I haven't read it, that says choose yes over no. Now is a good time to be choosing yes. So anyway, I chose yes and spoke to her and went for dinner with her, and we went to the Uluwatu temple together and got chased out of the temple by monkeys together. And anyway, we had this, that connection led to so many other connections for me, led to an incredible 3 weeks, led to an incredible experience at a yoga resort, led to so much for me, all from one conversation. Again, it's about being open, it's about surrendering, it's about knowing that you're guided. The next one I might end up doing a whole podcast on, but it is, inspiration might not be easy, but don't resist it, or you could be ignoring a huge message from the universe. I was in meditation I've done a lot of I do a lot of meditation anyway, but I did some meditation. I did one particular hour of silence a few days ago, about a week ago, and I was frustrated and my mind was going. I couldn't stop my ego from talking. I couldn't stop this thing, but it was like there's just frustration was building, and I was getting frustrated. And I was like, why is my mind not being quiet? Why? And then I was thinking about this one particular thing that I'd thought of a few years ago, and I never really listened to it, and Then I did I started thinking about, why did that keep coming up in my mind? Maybe I should be listening to this. And then from that, I have had the biggest epiphany of something that I know is going to change my life, and it's going to change the course. It just adds to this life that I love, and I'll go into it. This is the thing I was telling my friends the other day, and I will go into it more once it's a bit more clear. But the inspiration, it might not be an aha moment. It might be, oh my God, like, it might be frustrating, it might be hard, like, you know, like labor. Not that I've ever been in labor, but it's not easy. And you're birthing something, like you're giving birth to a human being, and you're pushing it out, and it's painful, and it's ripping, and you know, and there's blood, and there's screaming, and then you have this beautiful little, like, creation, this little miracle. And yeah, sometimes inspirations can come that way, and sometimes, you know, ideas can come that way. It's not always going to be easy. No way. I can tell you that for sure. Yeah, be brave. It'll pay off. And I've had to be brave throughout this whole thing. Like, some of the time my little inner child was going, no, don't make me do this. But I was like, no, I'm with you. I'm here, we're safe. Come on, let's be brave. The one thing I haven't been brave enough to do yet, and I might do it tomorrow, is go on the back of a bike. I have done it, but like, I'm scared because I don't have a helmet. I'm like, will they have a helmet for me? But also, in saying that, I'm so much more comfortable in a car, so I don't know why I need to go on a bike. But being brave, fortune favours the bold. It'll pay off. And again, that all ties in with surrendering. You've got to be brave to surrender. You've got to know. You've got to trust. Trust is huge. And then this is something that I've been thinking about over the last few weeks, actually, is having a vision, because, you know, this podcast is called Design Your Legacy. The idea behind it is have the legacy that you want to leave in your mind. Like, think that this is what I want to do in the world. This is what I want to create. This is what, if you've listened to my earlier podcasts, which are very different to kind of what we have now, we talk about legacy a lot, and how people are leaving legacy for their family. How legacy, actually defined, is a financial legacy in the dictionary. Have a legacy. So having this legacy in mind, and that will then help you lead a fulfilled life, because you're constantly working on a vision that you know is your purpose. You're going towards what you want to do, how you want to help, what change you're making in the world, and giving back and contribution to human needs in order to be fulfilled and be happy. So, you know, that is the name that is why my podcast is called Design Your Legacy. Now, what I am learning, and this all again comes back to surrender, is have a vision, but know that the universe still has a plan for you. Like, you're not entirely in control. There's a lot around, and me and a friend might be doing a podcast on this, law of attraction versus surrender, manifestation versus surrender, and trusting the universe. And you already have a path kind of that you are going on. And there will be options for you along the way and choices for you along the way, but ultimately, everything that's meant to happen will happen. You'll have lessons, you'll have you'll be guided if you want to be. There's all this stuff going on in the background, but yes, your choices will lead you where you're meant to be, and your choices, if you trust the universe, will maybe be a bit smoother than if you resist. But who knows? I've been resisting for a long time, which led me to a few years of fear and stress and anxiety and cancer. Now that I've decided to surrender, life feels a lot easier. I'm a lot happier. Yeah, you know, I'd love to tell people, learn from my mistakes, but we all have our own lessons to learn. When you're ready, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. That's been a big one, because there's just been a lot around my learnings around spirituality and going deeper and entering into a higher consciousness and living from the heart space, and you know, I've had lots of teachings as this podcast gets longer and longer. You are learning that I have learned a lot in the last 3 weeks. Be excited for life. It's just a nice feeling. If you feel anxious, and I might have spoken about this before, you might have heard this before, but if you feel anxious, your body doesn't physically know the difference between anxiety or excitement. It's your mind that knows the difference, or thinks it knows the difference. So if you feel that anxious feeling in your body, you know, it's your body reacting to chemicals. That's not you. So if you have this, you can kind of rewire your mind to say, actually, am I anxious or am I excited? Say it's a social anxiety. Am I anxious that I'm about to go and meet some people who I've never met before? Am I anxious about walking into this restaurant on my own? Am I anxious that whatever? Think about the anxiety and then say, oh, actually, am I excited that I might meet some new people? Am I excited that I'm going to have a new experience? Am I excited that I am going on an adventure? And you can tell your brain and your body that you're excited, and your mind will start to then reflect that. Same goes for loving your life. Even if you don't necessarily love your life, tell yourself you love your life and just watch things change. I love my life. I'm excited. I love my life. I love myself. I'm excited. See what happens. And you know, you will change. Smile while you do it as well. It's all about energy, and you know, the energy that you put out is the energy that you will get back. So put out the good energy, you will get the good back. This is a big one, and I'm actually going to include a big part of this in my book, in the last chapter, or maybe throughout, because it is a massive theme, which is love has to come from within you. We all want unconditional love. That's all we want. Unconditional love. Unconditional love, happiness, fulfillment. That love has to come from within you, because you will only ever be able to be loved by others the amount that you love yourself. You'll only ever be able to receive the amount that you can give yourself, the amount that you're open to receive. If you feel unloved or any imbalance, then start with giving yourself more love. And I don't mean bubble baths, unless you don't ever treat yourself or give yourself time. That is love, that is care. But love, I mean hand on heart, breathing into your heart space love, feel it, really trying to feel the feelings. Give yourself love, live in your heart space, and just watch the world change around you. You will receive more love. You might meet the love of your life. You might realize you are the love of your life. There will be just things will change. And I think that this is how we ultimately, we're moving into this fourth density world, and I know the shit is hitting the fan in the world at the minute, and my heart goes out to anybody who is suffering from war, from poverty, from cancer, from shit, from COVID, from bankruptcy. My heart goes out to anybody who being here, and you see poverty in Bali, and every driver I've had has told me how difficult it's been because they've had no tourism. Bali relies on tourism, and there's some stuff going on, and they've had it really difficult. They've not had any tourists for 2 years, and a lot of families are really, really struggling, and that has really touched me, and I really, that's really kind of hard. Quite an empathic person, and I'm quite very sensitive, and that does really touch me. And obviously with the Russia-Ukraine stuff, But yes, so I know shit is hitting the fan, but I really believe the way that we're going to help the world move into a better place is first by loving ourselves. Because if everybody in this world could love themselves as much as they possibly could, imagine what would be possible. Imagine that we wouldn't just sit and visualize. If every person in the world loved themselves, would we have poverty? Would we have war? Would we have cancer? You know, it might seem quite far-fetched, but I truly believe in it. And this is what a fourth density world is the densities relate to, I'm going to have to do a podcast on this. The densities in spirituality relate to, and I think it's Kundalini, they relate to the chakras, and the fourth chakra is the heart chakra, and the densities, and the fourth density is people living in the heart, and living in a place of love, and only then can we kind of ascend. But it is like, whether you're spiritual or not, whether you just listen to this because there's some good ideas, or you just, you know, nosy about my life, just try and love yourself and watch your own life change. Don't worry about anybody else. Don't worry about like what's going on. Don't worry about changing the world. Just love yourself and like watch the world change around you. Maybe that's the biggest lesson in all of this, because when you love yourself, you can surrender, you can trust. When you love yourself, you can be excited for your life because you know you're building a life that you love. When you love yourself, like, stuff just happens around you. Stuff happens for you. Everything happens for you, but stuff just happens. Yeah. I'm gonna leave it there because this is I'm still reflecting on a lot of this, and there might be more lessons that come out of this. And I know I had one earlier, but I can't remember, another one to add, but I can't remember what it was now. Yeah, I can't remember, but maybe it'll come back to me. So on that note, I'm going to send you lots of love. I'm going to the pool now, and then I'm going to watch my final beach, or it might not be my final beach sunset, because I have just over 24 hours left in Bali. So before I fly back home to my wonderful life in London, I'll definitely be back though, definitely. So lots of love from me to you. Do something today for yourself that is either giving yourself true love or helping you surrender. Ask yourself where you need to surrender. Ask the universe for guidance. Ask yourself for love. And be open to receive. And see what happens. And let me know if anything cool happens. Let me know. If you'd like to learn more about myself, you can connect with me on Instagram. I'm at Roseanna Croft, or the links are in the descriptions and the show notes to this episode. If you would like to, you can also check out my website. But yeah, if you want to connect, let's connect on Instagram. Sending you lots and lots of love, unconditional love. Have a wonderful day.